he is.
Hi there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
All right. Well,
We ready, Lynn, to get started?
yes, sir. I'll let you take
All
it
right.
away.
Okay, sounds good. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name's Jerry Price. I'm president of KAMC, and would like to, welcome all our members and guests to our meeting. And we'll have Lynn Faulkner, our executive director, introduce our guests.
Good morning, everybody. I have the privilege to introduce our Secretary of State, Michael Adams, a native of Paducah, serves as the 77th Secretary of State. Michael attended public schools and was the first in his family to receive a bachelor's degree. After graduating from the University of Louisville in its third class of McConnell Scholars, Michael attended Harvard Law School on a low-income aid. Returning to Kentucky, Michael clerked for Chief U.S. District Judge Hayburn for Senator McConnell's 2002 reelection campaign and as Deputy General Counsel for Governor Fletcher. Before moving to Washington to serve as counsel to the U.S. Deputy Attorney General in the second Bush administration. In 2007, Michael began full-time private practice in election law, first as general counsel to the Republican Governors Association, and later opening a national practice in the field. He has represented several national political committees, members of Congress, and statewide campaign efforts in all 50 states. Because of his unique election experience, Governor Bevin appointed Michael to the Kentucky State Board of Elections. Michael is happily married to Christina and is the proud father of Lucia. Is that right,
That's
sir?
right. You nailed it.
Okay. Well, it's a privilege to have you, and thank you so much. And I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. Good morning. Thank you all for having me here today. I'll tell you, people ask me, what's the biggest challenge you've got right now? There's plenty to pick from. Is it the pandemic? Is it vote fraud? Is it Russia? No. The biggest problem I've got right now is how do I get information out to the electorate about how they can vote in this election? I'm not able to travel like I used to, speak to groups. It's a lot harder these days. I think us doing a Zoom today kind of reflects that. It's hard for me to reach people. And I've got a lot of good news to share about how easy it is to vote in this election. And so I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak with you all through this medium today. I hope this is helpful. And anything that you all should need from my office, please let us know. So let me do this in the interest of time. Instead of going through in great detail through how this all works, let me just, for the moment, limit what I open with to what's changed since the primary. In the primary, we turned on a dime. We went from being a state that voted 98% in person on one day in a 12-hour span and 2% absentee to voting 75% or so absentee in the primary back in June. It worked. I'm really proud of the result that we had. We kept people safe. We had no spike in COVID-19 cases coming out of that. And we had historic turnout. I'm proud of all of that. It was the right decision for the right time. But that model doesn't fit quite as well in a November election. And here's why. 75% of a 29% voter turnout, which is, again, really good for a primary. That came to about 800,000 absentee ballots. And that was pretty much all the clerks worked on for weeks. They closed their offices and stopped doing other work just to process these ballots. That's about the cap of what they're able to handle. We don't have an infrastructure designed for that because we're a vote in person state historically. So what I've tried to do for November with the agreement of Governor Beshear is take the best of what worked in the primary and keep that, but also make some changes and get us closer to normal for November as Kentucky is reopening in other respects, so are our polling sites. So here are the big changes from the primary. First of all, we're scaling back absentee voting. It's available for anyone who needs it. It's not going to be no excuse this time, but if you have an age or a health condition yourself, or if you're in contact with someone who's of advanced age or has some sort of health condition that makes that person vulnerable to COVID-19, then this is there for you still. It's the same process. You go to govoteky.com to apply for an absentee ballot. We verify your identity. I've got an MOU with the Bashir administration, so I've got access to all the driver's licenses, so we can verify identity of the voter on the front end when they ask for the ballot, also on the back end by checking their signatures on their absentee ballot envelopes against their driver's license signature. So we can prevent vote fraud. But the process is the same as it was for the primary. You can get your absentee ballot from your county clerk, but the easiest thing to do is govoteky.com. It takes about 2 minutes. And the best part of that is if you use that website, then you're in the system and you can track your ballot online 24/7. Anytime, day or night, you can go on that website. You can punch in your information. You can see where your ballot is. Every one of these has a barcode on it. So not your ballot. We don't track your ballot individually, but we track the envelope. So that way we can tell if both I can tell and you can tell if your application's been processed by your clerk, if it's been sent to you, and if your clerk's got it back and has processed your vote, so it's counted. I like that transparency. So although we're preserving this, again, making this available to everyone, our hope is that not everyone utilizes it for this reason. 75% of 29% is a lot of ballots. 75% of 72% is way too many ballots for this method of voting. Our clerks just don't have the manpower and the resources, and for that matter, even the storage capacity to handle 75% of the vote this November being absentee ballot. My projection for November is we're going to have about a 72% voter turnout, 2.5 times what we had in the primary. We're just not able to scale up that level of absentee balloting. So again, I'm encouraging people who need this to utilize it. There's no age requirement. We leave that to the subjective decision of the voter, whether or not you think that you're at risk based on your own health conditions. We don't ask you your health conditions. This is none of our business. This is your business. It's there for you if you need it. That said, we're encouraging people to vote in person if they can, and we've made that the easiest it's ever been in Kentucky history. We're going to have 3 weeks of in-person voting. There's election day, but there's about 15 more election days beyond that. We're going to have 3 weeks of early voting. It's going to be Monday through Friday, regular hours at your clerk's office, as well as, for the first time in Kentucky history, Saturday voting. This is no excuse voting. It's no appointment necessary voting. It's just like election day. Your convenience, you show up, you vote. We've made this as easy as we possibly can. This is the release valve this time for turnout. Instead of it being pushing everything into absentee, this time we're trying to nudge people, if they can do it, to go vote in person and to do that early if they can, so we don't have long lines and problems maintaining social distancing on election day. So number one, we're scaling back the absentee, but we're keeping it for folks who need it. Number two, we're significantly expanding in-person voting days. It's not going to be 12 hours on one day. It's going to be 8 hours a day for 3 weeks. And next to last point, election day itself, we're going to have more places to vote than we did in the primary. I'm not able to tell you we're going to have every precinct open in the state. We've got 3,692 precincts in Kentucky. I don't have 4 poll workers for every one of them. I just don't. We've been very inventive in our office, finding ways to recruit poll workers. It takes 15,000 to run an election. Back in the primary, we had fewer than 2,000. After months and months of trying, most of our poll workers are elderly, and you can understand why they weren't interested in volunteering right now to be surrounded by the general public for 12 hours. It's a problem. I actually testified in the legislature last year before the pandemic that we had a crisis with our poll workers in this state. Our poll workers tend to be greatest generation age and baby boomer age, and they're aging out of being poll workers. In my generation, I'm a Gen Xer. My generation has not stepped up the way we need to. So we've been very inventive, finding ways to recruit poll workers, especially younger people. We actually launched an initiative last week that's been really successful, putting labels on beer cans in partnership with brewers around the state, advertising our need for poll workers and directing them to our website. We opened a portal at govoteky.com to recruit volunteers. We found 4,000 poll workers just by ourselves. This is the job of the county clerks. It's not actually ours, but we're trying to be good, helpful partners. And by ourselves with our portal and this promotion project, we found 4,000 of the 15,000 that we need. So that's great news, but we're not going to get 15,000. We're not going to have every precinct open in every county, but we are going to have more places open. One thing that's different for November is last time the governor and I were very deferential to the clerks. We let them design their own plans and effectuate them. And that's why you only had, for example, one location in Lexington, one location in Louisville. It's not enough. So this time, one tweak that he and I made is this time we've got veto power. This time, no clerk can reduce locations without my sign off and the governor's sign off. And that's a pretty useful tool. So I've had 26 counties so far whose plans both the governor and I have approved. A lot of those counties have opened up every single precinct. Jim Lurson, the county clerk in Campbell County, that's a big county. He's opened up every single precinct. I think it's 67 precincts. It's amazing. Every single one's back open. We had a brewery in Newport up there that's one of our partners, and they were really helpful in getting the poll workers, and now we got the polls open. We don't have that advantage in every county. We've got several counties that open up every site. We've got others that are going to have to reduce locations, but we're not going to have the kind of situations that we had in the primary with hundreds of thousands of voters in one location. But fortunately, we're not going to have that situation recur. One last quick point, and I'll turn it back over and take any feedback or questions you have. The biggest complaint I got in the primary was we want more places to go vote in person. And I agree, and we've done that. The second complaint I got was we don't want to wait a week to find out who won these elections. The candidates don't want to wait, and the voters don't want to wait. I don't want to wait either. So we did make a change here too. In the primary, we had about 25% of the votes counted on election night, which is to say we had all the votes counted of in-person voting for early voting of 2 weeks. We had plus in-person voting election day. That was about a quarter of the vote. And we can push a button and have those totals in an hour statewide. But 3/4 of the vote came in absentee, and it took a long time to count that. So here's what we've changed. This time we've required the clerks to report all the votes that they've received as of 6 p.m. on election night. That's going to be all the in-person voting, 3 weeks of that, which I think is going to be the majority of voting in Kentucky this election, not absentee. But we've also required them to count all the absentee ballots and report those on election night if they've received them. We think they'll have most of the absentees back at that point. And last time they waited until after the election to count the absentee. This time they're going to go ahead and count them. So I project that we're going to have 75 to 80% of the vote counted on election night. It won't be all of it, but it's never all of it. It always takes us a few days to count everything. There's always some stragglers that don't have all their numbers counted. It takes a few days for me to get all the results in from the state and put those out officially. And that'll be the case here. It'll be Friday following the Tuesday election before we have all the numbers in. But we're still going to have enough numbers in election night to be able to put our state on the board, on the big national map of who we voted for president, for example. That's a Kentucky tradition. We're always the first state in the country to report our results for president. It's a great tradition I want to maintain. So we're going to have relatively fast results. New York voted the same day we did, June 23rd. They didn't finish their ballot counting until late August. It took them 2 months. We're not going to have that problem. We're going to be pretty fast. So we're not going to have every single race determined, but I think the vast majority of races will be projected election night. We'll have finality for the candidates and the voters. So with that quick summary, thanks a lot again, and I'll take any feedback or questions you have.
I've got a question. So you're saying then 3 weeks prior to election that our county clerk's offices will be open with like voting machines for us to be able to go in and vote there during like the Monday through Friday?
Yeah, so most of the clerks are using their offices. Some of them are using other locations. Once all of those are formalized, we'll put those on our website, sos.ky.gov, so you can see where to go vote. We'll also put this out with PSAs and so forth. But the bottom line is, yes, there will be in-person voting, no excuse necessary, no appointment necessary, in-person early voting in all 120 counties starting, I believe it's Tuesday, October 13th, for regular business hours, Monday through Friday. Also, we're requiring all the clerks to have at least 4 hours of in-person early voting on Saturdays, 3 Saturdays before the election. if they can find the staffing and the locations to do this in more than one location, we encourage that. Some of the clerks are. If they can find the manpower and the locations to have Saturday hours all day, then we encourage that too. We have a bare minimum of 4 hours on a Saturday. It's never been more convenient to vote in Kentucky. And despite the pandemic, we're going to have higher turnout than we normally would in a regular election.
I would also like to thank you. I'm from Paintsville. I know about 2 days ago you were in Prestonsburg in Floyd County, and getting out to Eastern Kentucky is appreciated.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll tell you what, one of the biggest frustrations is my inability to travel and visit with constituents. I've only been outside the Capitol 3 times since the pandemic broke. I've only had 3 events outside the Capitol, one in Jackson, one in Prestonsburg, and one in Taylorsville. And it's not because I'm not willing to go. It's just there are so few events I can go speak at in person. So few civic organizations and so forth are having in-person events. So if I see one, I rush to do it. But it's really helped me get the message out about all the options folks have to vote. Yeah,
I saw you on WYMT on the news that evening. That's how I didn't know about it that day, or I would have actually came down there. But like I said, I saw them on the news that evening. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions for the secretary? Well, we're going to post this video out on our website, so any of the members or non-members that didn't get a chance to get on the call today will be able to see that, and we'll make some notes and send it out in our newsletter so we can make sure all of our membership understand the voting and where they can go, and the go vote ky.gov. We'll make sure we put that out there so we can get our membership out the vote.
.com.
Oh, .com. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, govoteky.com. Sorry about that.
Could I just close with a quick note
Sure.
about deadlines? Do you mind? So here are the dates to keep in mind. October 5th at 4 p.m. is the deadline to register to vote. You can change your party at any time, but to register to vote for November 3rd, the deadline is October 5th at 4 p.m. That's state law. That's not from me. That's state law. The deadline to request an absentee ballot, if that's how you choose to vote, is October 9th at 11:59 p.m. And here's why. Normally, the law says you can wait till 7 days before the election to request an absentee ballot. Well, when 2% of the vote's absentee, okay, fine. But not when maybe a third or 40% even might be absentee this November. We can't expect the clerks to get all these late requests a week before the election and process them in time and get them mailed out and then get them mailed back in time. So we do have an early cutoff of October 9th to request that ballot. And we also opened up our portal much earlier than we did last time. Last time we opened it up a month before the election. It took us 2 months to build it. But it still works, so we opened it last month. We're giving voters about 6 weeks to request these ballots. They're being printed now. They'll be going out in the mail next week. So if you've applied already, please be patient. It took time for us to certify the ballot. The deadline was the 4th of September. Had to wait for Kanye file to get on the ballot. So the ballots are going out. But again, the 9th of October is that deadline. What we did this time is we have an earlier deadline to request your ballot. And this is helpful to the clerks. They're able to do the stage of absentee balloting first, get those requests in, get those ballots mailed out to voters, and then pivot to early voting in person. Last time, we really put a lot of burden on them by having absentee voting plus early voting at the same time on them. That was really, really tough on them. So this time, we're doing this in stages. So we do encourage you, if you're going to vote absentee, again, we encourage you to vote in person if you can. But if you can't or shouldn't, then get that request in by the 9th of October. And then early voting in person starts October 13th.
Thank you. We appreciate your time and the update.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much.
Thank you.
Great day.
All right. I don't see that Max, the acting commissioner is now Max Fuller, and I had invited him to join our call, and I don't see him on my list. See if I can reach out and grab him to come on. Jerry, anything you would like to say to the membership while I'm trying to get a hold of Max?
Yeah, it's good to see a few of the faces, even if it's on Zoom, you know. So I think Lynn and Martha's been doing a good job. You know, she sent out some budget stuff, not budget, but our financials. Started taking a look at that yesterday, and it appears that things are going pretty well considering all this craziness that's happening. So I'm looking forward to getting to see everyone in person. You know, I hope we're able to have our meeting in, I don't have that in front of me, the date, but in, I guess that's in December with the
December the 3rd.
Yeah, at the casino. I hope that happens. And then our February, that's our part. That's December's our partners banquet, and then of course our February meeting. So hopefully that'll all happen. Enough of this doom and gloom, right?
I know, I agree. Yeah, come out. We'll have a great time.
Fingers crossed everything opens back up to where we can all be together.
Martha and I are scheduled to go over to Caesars and check out the new casino and the new layout. So they're happy to have us. So looking forward to that.
Well, Dave Treader and I will be there, right? We got him muted. That's a good thing.
Hey, Lynn, I'm going to have to jump off. I got to get into another Zoom meeting here.
Okay.
So y'all take care.
Yeah,
Be good.
thank
Thanks for
you.
coming, Mark.
Thanks.
Okay. David, stay out of trouble coming into Louisville.
I always do.
That's why I'm saying stay out of trouble. So see you later.
See ya.
Yeah. I am uncertain of what to do here. So let me see if I can call his office.
Lynn, did he say it was still, you're still able to volunteer to be a poll worker?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
I'm
See,
sure.
our folks,
It's on the same website. You can go in and
KY.com.
GoVoteKY.com.
or you can contact your county clerk's office. Let them know.
you know, the crazy part about this is our clerk's office has closed their doors, and they have a door with a slot out front, and you've got to buzz them. And like if you're renewing a license or whatever, you have to send the stuff and the check and all that through the slot. They will grab it, do the stuff, and then hand it back through you the slot. And so, yeah,
I get that to a point, but what if you
they-
have a bigger county?
they had done this, and then they went and did all the petitions inside, you know, and everything, and then they allowed inside, and then a couple of weeks ago they went back to, you know, with the additional cases, you know, they went back to this. So I guess I'm sure they'll have us a booth or something opened up by then. So
Maybe they'll do it at a different location.
yeah, probably.
Maybe.
But I'm all for I think that's a great idea myself, the 3 weeks before, because that's something I'll probably do 2 weeks before and just get it out of the way before it gets crowded, you know.
I'll
I'm gonna
probably
do it
wait till the
every
day of.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna do it every week.
Is that what Trump told you to do? Every day?
That's funny.
Mike
Hey, I
said,
think if the dead people can
Max
vote,
is
then I should be able to
wait.
vote 3 times, right?
Might as well.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Max is going to join us, and he has a special guest with him, is my understanding.
Hmm.
So hang on to your hats. There's untelling who.
Okay, better mute David then.
Yeah. Let me get this information to him real quick. Hey, Martha, you want to plug our district meetings coming up?
Sure. We have one coming up Monday in District 2 down in Owensboro at the Moonlight Barbecue.
Good stuff.
Never been there, but y'all tell me how it is. We had to move it from the community college there because they won't let us on campus. So I emailed Stacy a flyer that says, "Our location has moved. Please go to Moonlight Barbecue." Just in case somebody happens to show up. I don't know if Dave has any people up at his, at Zoller, the Center for Excellence. I went up there yesterday for a little tour. Dropped him off some plumbing code books. If you need any plumbing code books, call Dave or us. He's got a lot. Then let's see. Did you get anybody in your class today, Dave?
No, we did not.
Oh. But we're going to pick up whenever they lift that executive order. So once they lift that, then everybody will pick up with classes. So we don't know when we'll get that notification, but we'll get that. Look, there's Floyd. That's exciting. Is that the special guest?
Yeah. Floyd, are you our special guest?
Probably not.
I don't have him on screen.
Because you're probably on speaker view.
Can you hear me now?
There he is. Floyd, are you the special guest?
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just seeing what you are doing.
Are you
We're glad you stopped by.
Are you our special guest?
Yeah, were you supposed to have a special guest and they're not here today?
No, apparently Mike said that if we waited a couple minutes that we would have a special guest, and then you jumped on. So
Oh, well, here I am, I guess. Hey, the invite came, so I'm here.
there you go. Excellent. No.
Who else is supposed to be on?
We're waiting on Acting Commissioner Max Fuller, and while we're waiting on them, we also have our convention and expo is still a go as of right now. We're going back to the Louisville Marriott downtown on February 5th and 6th. So put that on your calendars.
Okay.
So as far as I know, we're still a go. I got word that they opened yesterday. So.
Okay, good. Well, the other ones are all open, and the Omni's open, and everything else is opening back up. So, I guess
Did Floyd see all those boxes, cases, and casings of the plumbing code that you got?
You what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Floyd, yeah, you'll have to come by. I'll throw a couple of cases in your car.
Okay.
Martha and I got our workout on Monday.
You did.
We did. We now have 6,000 code books.
Jesus. Do we have that many plumbers?
Some of them, half of them were for the partners. The rest of them we kept for us.
Right.
So I'll send some your way with Tim, Dave.
Perfect.
Then we unloaded them on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we loaded the truck back up, and then Thursday I took them to Louisville and unloaded them. So I've had 3 workouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lynn, could I ask, do you have a copy there in your office that you could just show me how big it is on the code book?
Oh, sure. Yeah, hold on.
I know the smaller size were preferable, and then they got large, and okay,
It's
but
an
still
8.5.
large.
It's an 8.5 by 11, but it's pretty thin.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is the Buller Code book.
Okay. How do we obtain those?
You tell me you want them, and I'll get Martha to send them to you.
Okay, that'd be great. If I could get maybe 3 copies, is that possible?
Sure. Do you mind to pop me an email just so I don't forget?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. Shoot me an email and we'll get it taken care of. So
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, Jerry, can you talk? We can discuss, we're still, as far as legislation's concerned, where it's going to be a 30-day legislative session, plus they're going to do a 1-year budget. Everything's going to be moving quickly. So just be watching your emails and text messages for call to actions that we might send out. Right now, we are working on the 811 bill pretty hard. We've had meetings with Sal Santora. He is decided that he is going to help us with this bill. He has some background in, I think his son or son-in-law has a contracting business. So he is very aware of the struggles that we're having with that. So he is happy to help us with that. I think Dave was the determining factor in that when we got him on board.
It's a good golf game.
Yeah, most definitely.
That was a good day.
That was a good day. So we're working on 811. That one's pushing through pretty quickly. We're also working on setting a meeting with home builders about the 4-foot of grade for sewer taps in new construction as far as the development is concerned, the neighborhood developments. So we've got a meeting in a couple of weeks with home builders to make sure we're all on the same page. As soon as that gets nailed down, I think we'll be able to carry that forward pretty quickly. And then the other items we've talked about was bringing back the plumbing, HVAC, all the individual code committees back. I know that the association, we restarted our HVAC and plumbing code committees internally. We've been in contact with the division about how those are going to look. We worked with 6 other associations to draft some language that we would like to see, how we would like to see those brought back. So we were working with Commissioner Mona Womack, but since she's moved on and Max has taken the reins, oh, here he is, then hopefully we'll be able to take care of that shortly.
Lynn, for the ones that are on the phone, Lynn is on the cell phone right now, so we're still here.
Right.
I assume she's getting the code for Max for the computer.
You're probably right.
I should have wrote it down before I left yesterday. The last time she did one of these, I wrote it down for her just in case. And then today I didn't do it, so.
Lesson learned.
Yes. Make sure she's prepared for anything. He's almost in. So you're giving him the last code. All right.
All right, I think he's coming on.
Great.
Hello.
All right, it looks like I made it.
Yay! Thanks, Max, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Glad to be here.
There he is. Well, for those of you who have not met, Max is now the acting commissioner, Max Fuller of DHBC. And Jerry, unless you've got something else, I'll just turn it over to Max and let him say a few words.
That sounds good. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just, I guess, a little bit of background on me, everyone. I've been with the department for a few years. Started as an attorney with the department. In April of this year, I was asked to be the deputy commissioner, accepted that, and currently I'm serving as acting commissioner. Hopefully we will have somebody full-time in this commissioner position, and I will go back to that deputy commissioner position. But that's about all there is about my background, my history with the department. I've worked obviously now with two administrations, been heavily involved in working with administrative regulations and code enforcement with all divisions: plumbing, HVAC, electrical, building code enforcement, manufactured housing, just about everybody I've worked with, fire marshal's office. But I am thankful for you all inviting me here. And I just want to, if I had a message, a prepared statement, and it's not prepared, it's just that we're here for you all. We're here for the folks that we regulate. We're here for the folks that we license, the folks that we serve. And I do want to just say thank you to everybody that has submitted a comment. We met with Lynn not too long ago, and I know quite a few folks affiliated with KAMC submitted comments to the department related to boards, and we really appreciate that. We ended up getting a much larger response than I think we had anticipated at first. Received over 200 written comments, and that was the most I've ever seen the public at large engage the department in that fashion, and I was really appreciative of it because it helps guide us and helps guide the decisions that we're going to have to make, and we couldn't do it without the input of the folks that we work for. So I truly appreciate that. Just a few, I guess, updates from the department, things that we're working on that affect you all and your people. We are working towards getting virtual inspections across the board in the Division of Plumbing. We've got an administrative regulation that is going to set the framework for that. It's going to be heard in front of the advisory committee here in just a couple weeks on September 29th. And then if everything's a go with them, it'll be filed with LRC in October. If that virtual inspection program works well in the Division of Plumbing, we are probably going to look at implementing similar programs across the board, across our divisions. So hopefully it works. I think it will work. I think it's going to make life easier on contractors. I think it's going to make life easier on inspectors. I think everybody's going to benefit from it. So we're looking forward to that. Other than that, we are continually rolling out more and more services on SmartGov and continually making improvements to that system. We just had pretty much every license type, with the exception of plumbing and boilers and elevators, move over to SmartGov just this week. It went a whole lot more smoothly than our first foray into moving HVAC licensing and permitting over to SmartGov. Division of Plumbing will be next. And once we do that, that's going to take all of the bulk of our licensees and our permits onto SmartGov. And hopefully that will continue to improve and make things a little bit easier, both for the department and for the contractors. But that's about all I have, guys. And again, just thank you all for inviting me. And I know it was kind of last minute. Lynn and I had some technical difficulties, but we got through it.
Hey, it is what it is. Gotta roll with it at this point. So, Max, do you have any ETA on when plumbing's going to come over?
To SmartGov?
Yes.
We are hoping within the next month or two.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, that's tentative upon things moving properly with the data migration. That's really what holds things up one way or another. So we're going to start validating that migrated data this month. And if everything goes properly, it should be October.
Okay. I don't want to dominate the questions here, but one more. Whenever you all get the virtual inspections set up, I know there was part of the regulation that was requiring to have training on that,
yes,
and
yes.
that you to be a master. The one question
Correct.
I've had asked about the master portion of it is, how are you dealing with larger companies that are, running under, does everybody that takes the training have to be a licensed master, or do they just have to take the training under their licensed master? And if you don't have an answer, you can circle back to me on that one. But that was one of the questions I was asked.
The way that we envision that is that the training is just like you only have to have one master plumber representing a company. You would just have to have one master plumber that's obtained that certificate of completion, gone through that training in order for that company to be eligible for it. If we need to work on that, if we need to tweak that, we're open to hearing from folks on it. Okay. But the way it's written right now, and I don't have it in front of me, so forgive me, but I believe the way that it's written right now is that it is the master licensee that has to attend the training.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
But once the master attends the training, then you can have the journeyman do the virtual inspection, right?
Right. Yeah. Correct.
Okay. All right. So
because it's the way that it's, again, it's not written in such a way that the master plumber has to be the person on the job site. It's just like as it's set up currently, where they are providing that general supervision,
right,
for their employees or for the folks in their charge. Now, just like that master plumber is the one pulling the permits and responsible for any work that's done.
Sure.
Same would go with that virtual inspection.
Okay. I think that in itself clears it up, probably, and I'll relay that information to those people that asked the question. So that was the question. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Jerry, do you have an issue with that?
No.
Well,
I'd just like to see it with HVAC.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's going to roll out all the way across the board. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I think the best way to describe what we're doing is we're using the Division of Plumbing as kind of a pilot program because we think that's where it's probably going to be the most useful, especially with water heaters replacements. And if everything goes smooth and goes as we anticipate it going, then we will continue to roll that out in other divisions as well.
Great. That's great. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, excuse my ignorance, but on SmartGo, what exactly is that? Is that just basically a contractor can take pictures of what they've done, or how's that work? I'm not exactly.
I'm sorry, you're asking about SmartGo?
Yes.
Okay, so SmartGo is our enterprise software, our licensing and permitting software, kind of like JO. It's that the new software program, this project started back in, I want to say 2017, 2018, and it's finally coming to a closure. It does allow for, or will allow for electronic license renewal, electronic permitting, which already existed in some capacity in the other divisions, and electronic plan submittal, plan review, that sort of thing.
That answer your question, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, Jerry, do you have anything?
No, I think that's good.
Well, Max, as always, we appreciate your time
Yep,
and
absolutely.
joining us. And if we can help you in any way, please let me know, and we'll be happy to do that.
Sure.
So Floyd
you.
Floyd was our special guest.
Floyd's always special. I'm glad he's a special guest.
All right.
Well, unless we have something, Jerry, if you have something else, I think that pretty much wraps up our discussion for today. I appreciate you all joining us and taking the time.
Yes, yeah. Thanks for everyone's time. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.